Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
Hey everybody, welcome to Golden Guys. Let's bring everybody in here right now. We are just like the Golden Girls without all the sex appeal, cutting up the cheesecake and getting ready to go. Right now, let's introduce somebody first before I bring in, let's do a 5 people in here. Let me first introduce this guy right here. Paul, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. I spent about 8 hours in the hospital today with little Miss Moira. But for those of you who've been following her story, she had her PET scan today, and they've already told us everything came back good.
Good news for everybody. Big round of
news,
applause
man.
for that. Very
Got
cool.
wiped out,
very
so I'll
exciting.
probably be here for an hour and then check out.
No worries here. Let's keep it on going down the line. DS, how's it going?
It's going great. I threw some war books on the CGC boards today, and they were selling as fast as I could list them. So it's a hot category. So I'm
You
still
did see
loving that
that?
category. There's a ton of them in C-Link I'm watching. Other than that, not a whole lot going on. I sent a submission out to CGC, hoping to take advantage of that quick turnaround time. We'll see how I do. And then, just watching auctions, biding my time, and being stingy in my old age, and being cheap and lowballing offers on everything. That's what
There
I'm
you go. And down over there, we got Jeff, the Golden Age Guru. How we doing?
Oh man, just another week in paradise, and I'm dealing with a water heater issue right now, and that's just always fun.
Always.
Other than that, man, comics are the same as last week. I do have some Golden Age comics coming in, collection out. Still trying to finalize, but hopefully in a few weeks, show some cool pieces.
Nice.
And other than that, man, I'm excited. If we're gonna check out this Comic Link auction, I'm excited to look at some of these books.
Talk a little about like that. And Knights, Mikey, how we doing, buddy?
Pretty good. Just trying to get used to this staying at home thing. I think it's going to happen a little longer, even though we're moving out of it, I guess.
I actually
Something.
I went into the office today for the first time since February.
Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah,
Traffic's kind of back in Seattle a little bit.
You could always,
you guys got a
you
whole
always move to Chaz, and nothing's on lockdown there, I don't think. Right?
I got an email from work yesterday. I think it'll probably be next year before I'm back in the office.
I was there. Pretty much they kind of talked to me for a while last week, asking me, please, please, please. And I says, all right. So back in the office.
Well, it's anarchy in the streets in Seattle.
You guys got your own thing going
right
on.
there.
No, it's nowhere near as bad as they're publicly televising it. It's ridiculous.
Is it Lord of the Flies
It's
or
so
what?
crazy how
Nothing.
sensationalized it is on TV.
I'll tell you, on the East Coast, it is like
Crazy.
a revolution occurring over there in Seattle, and we're over here like, what the hell is going on in Seattle?
Nothing like that.
I mean, you had Starbucks and you had Nirvana and the grunge movement, and this is like taking to another level.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's. I talk to people in Seattle and they're just like, dude, it's peaceful, it's quiet. I don't know what the heck they're trying to show.
Well, they're bored. They got to do something to sensationalize the media. Not like us, we don't sensationalize any comics or anything like that. Anybody have anything to show and tell? I did not. I bought a book. It's not here yet. I'll probably talk about it in a little bit.
If somebody on the panel ever gets back to me with his PayPal address, I'll have something to show.
Oh yeah, I got to talk to Guru. I owe a book. I'm interested in that other book too. But
I got stuff to show whenever I got an email from Metropolis Comic Connect, same company, whatever.
Vince or Bobby.
Sent Z about how please bear with us. Our shipping is going to be delayed, and I'm thinking, yeah, it always is. It's always
Yeah.
I mean,
How does this change from normal how?
I'm not even freaking out yet. So I mean, you don't need to send an email. It's only been a month.
It's funny. Comic Link gets it from Boston real quick to my house, like really fast. And Comic Connect, I know full well I'll get it by the time the next auction starts. you know.
That way it's appreciated in value, and you like it more.
Yes,
Just went up 2%.
everything I buy always appreciates in value, right?
The only thing I have outstanding right now, I bought. I got that Blue Bolt 105, which is for me a big book. That was a big purchase, and I got that coming from Comic Connect auction. I also bought something off Metropolis Exchange, so I got those two, and then I bought something off Comic Link Exchange, and all the checks and payments have cleared. They've all got their money, so I'm just waiting on shipping. So those are the 3 books I have outstanding, and we'll see. I'm sure Comic Link will come first.
Is this your first buying on the exchange of Comic Connect?
No, I've been buying. I bought the
I
first
like
one I ever bought on an auction exchange. I think was my Suspense 8, my old copy, which was a 3.0. I bought that raw off Metropolis Exchange in like 2016 or 2017.
How long? See that when I buy off the exchange, sometimes I got to wait a lot longer for that one.
Well, I'll tell you, Metropolis, though, they don't have the books they have on their exchange. They don't have all those books in hand.
Some of them.
The seller, on some of them, the seller is just giving them pictures, and if it sells, they contact the seller and say, "Hey, we need that book now; it's sold." So I'm not a huge fan of that system.
Right.
But, it is what it is, and I haven't had any. I trust Metropolis. It just takes a while to get it.
I like Metropolis. They're it's probably the best site for me for a want list. If you guys ever create a want list of books you're looking for, the obscure, the rare, and stuff that doesn't come up often, Metropolis has almost a weekly, every other day, sometimes email with updates, and I really enjoy their want list more than I like my comic shop's want list, because everything I want, there's 8 other people that are on that list too. So it's kind of depressing. I mean, it's nice to know that other people are interested in that book, but it's also aggravating because I've been on there for so long waiting for that book, and of course you see it. I mean, it's better than the CGC boards where you put, I'm wanting to buy a Tales from the Crypt 32, and then there's like the next day someone just puts it out there at a great price and it's gone. That happens with other books all the time. I'm like, look at the wanted to buy. I always keep that as actually an alert for me, is willing to buy, and I list and I always keep an eye on that, because I notice that if I do fulfill that request for someone, they really like it. They really give you great kudos and, hey, I found this for you. I've had a few actually. Someone gave me a compliment, says this is the 3rd time I've had a wanted to buy that JD has come through with that, and I thought that was nice. And that was actually Rick. So, so I enjoyed that. Comic Link right now has got an auction going on, and it's kind of an interesting one. We're not going to talk about too many of the high price books. We're going to, or the mega keys, because there aren't that many. But what there is a great conglomerate of other interesting books. Some one of a kinds, I guarantee it. Some really cool things, and I'll try to get that going a little bit. But if anybody has any show and tell items they want to show, I didn't really get anything. Any robots down there?
I do have some things, but I need a little time to gather a couple of stuff.
No worries. We don't. That's all right. We have time. We have cheesecake for everybody. We're all
just grab a book, I guess.
Yeah, I'll show you what I picked up on eBay, and the story behind it's kind of good, because I like it because DS told me I did a good job, so that's always good. When DS tells me I do a good job on a pre-code horror, I get excited. So one of my books on my list was the Tales from the Crypt number 32, and I'll show it right here. Purchases, and it's an interesting story about the book. I had it as an alert, and I was bidding on the auction for the 6.0 off-white pages, and I had a top limit of about 400 and change, 400 up, maybe a little bit more if it was shipping, if it had there, but I kept my limit there, and I bid it that way. I was high bidder for about maybe a day or two, and then all of a sudden, because I'm not one of those that snipe at the end of eBay, I like to get a high price out there off the bat to scare away some people that thinking about sniping. But in this case, I was shocked that it was up to $591 by the time I saw an alert came to me from eBay saying Here's a 5.5 of it there for $450, and it was up to $591 when a 5.5 off-white to white pages. This is the book here, Tales from the Crypt, and it's good. I mean, it looks like a nice 5.5, like I'm used to getting a lot of 5.5s.
I was going to say JD, king of the 5.5.
It's
That was
ridiculous.
what I called. Was it last week or the week before the Black Sheep grade? And then
Oh,
Yep.
two of them.
I'm not kidding you. I showed up 2 I got that week. I mean, I have my Journey to Mystery 85 was my first 5.5, and then I've got a steady every value tier I send out. I always get back a 5.5 or something. I got 2, 3, 4. It's my grade. It's my semi
And you're
Hagar
right,
grade
DSI.
55.
I see
What?
5.5s a lot of times sell for less than 5.0s.
Oh yeah. Well,
That's what I was saying. I think people prefer a 5.0 over a 5.5. It's weird.
yeah, but this was $450, so I said, and it's off white to white pages, and it looks pretty good. I mean, there's some EC work on there and everything else, but it's a badass cover. Look at that woman getting stomped by the elephant right there.
Who's the artist?
That is Jack Davis. Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
that is a Jack Davis cover, and you can see the hair. She's just agony, and she's dressed just right. It's the last of the pre-code horror elephant covers I needed.
Yeah.
So I completed that run. I've got two more superheroes to go, and jungles. I still have like 13 or 14 of those, and I'm not going to count. And then I've got an airboy that I've just, if I find it, I find it. I mean, it's one of the rarest airboys.
Well, I did pick up a book I can show you guys, but I don't have it in hand. But if you want to see it,
Sure, let's bring it up here.
all right. So this, I think there's only a couple on the census. I think 5.5 is the highest, and so I grabbed this
Another
from a
5.5.
comic shop.
Yeah.
And this is pretty good. This is their picture of it, and it definitely looks better than a 5.5.
Yeah, I love the helicopter, the old school.
Yeah, me too. That's why I liked it. The helicopter.
That is an old school helicopter right there.
Also got the bayonet guy in the front. So yeah, I really like the helicopter. But also, they have it at 6.0. I think it's actually even maybe a little higher than that.
Nice.
I love Avons, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The only thing I see is it looks like on the bottom of the front cover, is that a little chew on the edge there?
Over
The
here.
other side. The other side.
No, it's
Nope, that's the art, it looks like.
it's the
Yeah.
art. There's wear at all the corners, but they're calling
Yeah,
it
that
6,
looks
and I
nice.
think it's 6.5 from the front
Now-
and the back.
It's
So
a 3-inch piece missing out the back.
is that 1951 Avon?
I think it's a 52. It's U.S. Marines in Action #1.
Okay.
Not terribly tough to find, I think, but any of these war books are tough to find in a nice grade.
Yes.
And, if I can get, it's not like the census is going to blow up on this book. I think I can get this in and beat that 5.5 and have the highest graded copy. And honestly, I only paid $115 for it. I mean, I think it's
So steel right there, and that
Yep.
helicopter.
triple or quadruple.
August
don't-
1952.
Yeah.
Okay, and Avon back then, you have a bunch of different artists. Do we know who the cover artist is?
Yeah,
Or
and
is
this
it Tiger
one,
Shop, or-
no, I have to look it up. It was somebody I didn't recognize.
Okay.
Which,
Yeah,
Looks like it's U.S. Louis Ravielli.
there you go. I don't have any idea who that is, but the art, it's pretty quality. It's good quality art, and it's got a good action scene. I like the composition. It's the arrangement is nice. That's always good on an action cover. It's not just action for the sake of action. It's got the helicopter. It's got these little pockets of action going on, and it's on like a hillside. The grass is drawn. It's a quality piece of art with a good concept. It's bright colors, and it's a nice high grade. And for $115, the way this category is going, I mean, that could be a $600 book right off the bat in a slab, and that's yeah. So why not give it a shot for $115?
there we
Yeah,
go.
you did
Put
that
another
cover.
30 into it.
The guy who did the cover penciled and inked all but one story in that book.
It's a funny thing with Avon because Journey into Fear is a title that they do. Avon, that's like a early pre-code horror. They started in 51. I did some research on it because I have a Journey Mystery #1 waiting for me once this older lady sells this collection to me. or I buy it from her. I'm buying it for the one book. She's got also the first Marilyn Monroe in that Diary Secrets, but it's got burn marks on it because it looks like whatever. They're not good condition, but the one book that was in good condition was A Journey into Fear #1. And my research on that was Matt Baker on that. So I was like, okay, Baker on a horror book, not bad. I'll go with that. And he actually is the cover artist, apparently. Well, I got to double check that because two sources say one. And I don't trust Grand Comic Database because they make more mistakes than anybody. Only CGC makes worse. So, and because they use that, and that's what theirs. But I'm excited about, Avon getting some credit. I'm a big fan of Avon myself. Just their books and their stuff. While Knights is getting ready, I want to shout out the chat here, and I don't have my glasses on, so I'm going to have to do the old school way here now. First up in the bat is, of course, Chris Barrett. The Cosmic King has arrived. Very happy to have him here. Jambo, one of my favorites here with that lovely ruler right there on there. One of my favorite parts of it. Then we got Stream Elements watching our back. Knights who's here. Omega Comics, what's up, everyone? Go ahead and look at that Doctor Strange Ditko style right there. The Mystic Man, one of my favorite Doctor Strange right there. You guys know how to make me happy. Ricky, how we doing? Ricky Mark said, always good to have him here. He says, hello all. Then we have some guys. Alex, the Comic Quarter. Great. Full crew tonight. Well, hang on. Let's go back to that. He's got his Action Comics Superman right there. Alex, one of those guys, is I'm real happy to hear what he's doing there. One of my favorites here. We got DS, of course. Isn't it a nice? No blade job. Sorry. There we go. Mr. Gretzky 9966, I made it, and very nice with Smurf. Also, Mr. Gretzky, we like the fact that we might be discussing some MLJ today. K. Titus, hello everyone from Japan. Konnichiwa, very good to have you here. Here he goes, Konnichiwa, right there. Okay, and Jeff is in the chat. There he is, Cap and Comics. Howdy, mates. Howdy, having you here. Very good to have you here, Cap. And I think we're coming here. Not near mint. Sounds like my whole collection. Have to drop the light for the Gen 2 punch several times above my weight class in buying books. We do, but we're very happy to have you here. It's our pleasure to have you, of course. Enjoy the show. And Samuel David, hello everyone. Good having you here. That coffee looks pretty sweet, by the way.
Doesn't it? I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I don't put milk in my coffee. I don't put nuts in my coffee. I don't put fruit in my beer either.
Who puts nuts in their
I
coffee?
drink my coffee black as they could.
No,
Those hazelnut people. And of course, we got I Love Gold, Mortal Baby, Biggie Shack, home of the bangers, Superman collection. Totally getting a great Superman collection like I.
You know what I used to put in my coffee? I would get a coffee in the morning, piping hot, and I would dissolve an entire Milky Way bar in it, and that would be my morning coffee.
Oh,
Jesus. I know people that put sticks of butter in there.
Now that'll wake you up real fast.
Sticks of butter.
Yeah, I know a guy who puts sticks of butter in his coffee. It's crazy.
Why?
Like sticks of butter. Because he's just disgusting, like most people.
Well, there's probably a half a stick of butter in a Milky Way, so I'll probably.
Yeah, I actually I have 5 different kinds of coffee. I wear like I do a Kenyan blend for my first one, and then I'll do. Paul, you've been in my house. You see that coffee thing I have. I kind of go a little bit over the top with the coffee in my house, like I do with the whiskey too. But I enjoy my coffee, and I have a great thermos. For some reason, it keeps my coffee hot that I bring from home to my office all day long, and I do not share with anybody in my office. So we were going to talk a little bit about, nice again there, about the Comic Link auction, and I'm going to attempt to do this share screen fun. All right, so you guys, I'm going to let you guys lead the show on this one, and I will show some of the books. Is it working?
Well, yeah. No.
Not yet. Okay, so I have to go back to this now. And
There you go. I brought it up on my phone.
application.
Age and the highest price going down. So we'll see.
Comic Link right here. And here we go. All right. Does that work?
Yep.
Okay, so this is Comic Link auctions. I'm just doing the Golden Age. The highlight is, of course, the Cap 1, and it is a 4.0 with a $59,000 right now with 12 days to go. No surprise on that one. Do we think this one being the only one in the auction? Thank God, because there was 2 in that one. ending total on this one, plus minus 75. Knights, go.
100K.
100K. Anybody else?
125.
Whoa.
Yeah,
110.
I mean, I think like 75, 80. I don't think
Wait,
it's gonna be
The
100.
2.5 went for what? Was it 2.5 the one last time? What did it
The
go
2.5
Yeah.
went for 50.
No,
No.
which one just sold that we were talking about? What was the grade on that?
I think it was 2.5.
Yeah.
Didn't he go for what did it go for?
So,
75?
Did it hit
75,
75?
Or 80. I can't
Yeah.
remember.
I'll say 115. 110, 115.
But
Okay.
the 50, remember there was a 50 that went for 100 flat.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know.
But look at this.
People are going to manipulate. They're going to keep going.
Can you see this right here? What I'm looking at right here? Is that a bite taken out? The rest of the book looks pretty good.
You only see 2 books.
What are you showing right now? We can't see
Cap-
that.
Oh, you can't see. On the right side,
Wow.
on the right side
Yeah,
is a
that's
nice
the
little
road
bite
chew.
taken out.
I'll bring up the little specific points of the books because I got the same list. That way you don't have
Okay.
to list. But here's the bite you're talking about.
I'm sure the rest of the book then is pretty nice. I would think.
Yeah.
Like
I would think the rest of the book is really nice. That's my thinking.
Colors look nice from here.
Yeah, colors look pretty
Good.
solid.
Back cover looks clean. Front cover looks good, other than that bite. And there's a little pencil written 12 on the M in America.
A little bit of
Tech 31 said it was 86K for a 2.5 a few weeks ago.
yeah.
yeah.
I say 110, 115.
110, 115.
Or 90.
As good as it looks, I think that's definitely reasonable.
This could be a higher presenting than a 4.0 for sure. I mean, it's higher presenting than a 5.5 if we're going to get into that argument again. With that bite taken out of it, taking a huge grade out of it, but keeping the integrity, I think this is a good book. I think 110, 115 is a good mark for this.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
not
I mean
sure how
certainly
much-
that's such a shallow bite out. It's not going to affect story or anything.
Yeah,
Where's that video clip of the dog take a bite out of crime?
McGruff.
Was there Fred McGruff or something like that? Yeah.
it's light tanned off white too, so not.
Oh, the page quality's garbage too?
Well,
Well,
it's
light tan. I mean, light tan.
garbage on the edges apparently.
Yeah, it's probably along the edges.
It's
The
still
next-
gonna be 110, 115, I
The
think.
next book here is, I mean, I just got to show it.
Talk about garbage. A guy with a garbage pail on his head.
Yeah, this one is just.
Garbage pail is-
I'm going to try to get back to this and show this. I'm going to share screen. I'm going to share screen that page right now. Chrome tab, and I'm going to do this one. All right. So this Tech 168 is restored 8.0.
That did nothing.
I am not into that at all. Anybody else think this is ridiculous already at $3,800, considering where the next book is?
Well,
How much resto's on it?
the thing about the resto is some of it's fixable, some of it's not, and some of it is hidden. Like it's got small amount of color touch on cover. That's the wide range depending on how they define small amount, but that could be fixed. You could scrape that off. Pieces added to cover. I've looked at this. I can't tell where the pieces are added. It looks fully intact. So whoever reattached or added pieces did a good job. I can't tell. Tear seals to cover. Again, can't
Very
tell.
common. Yeah.
And then
The entry level for that book of any grade, isn't it like 2K at least?
yeah, I think so. It's got cover cleaned too. Now that's not fixable. That was like a chemical cleaning since it's coming up as a resto thing.
And just to be clear, color touch doesn't mean you can scrape it off. Color touch bleeds through the cover. You're putting a hole through your book. Period.
Yeah, no, but I mean, a lot of people will buy a big book like that and scrape it off and leave the holes and the marks and then regrade it and get a blue and try to get more money out of it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, I'm not saying that that's easy to do or won't affect it. What I'm saying is there's more on it that can't be addressed. Aside from, so I think it's not going to be somebody buying it to undo the resto because a lot of the resto is not fixable.
You think it's someone who just wants a very presentable copy?
I don't think that's a bad price for that book at 8.0, but if you it's
8.0
already
with massive restoration. It's barely the same book. I mean, pieces added I don't like ever. I mean, I don't mind restored, but if you buy a restored knowing it's restored, that's one thing.
I mean, what
Like-
should the price be in your opinion? Like
For
how
this,
low? Yeah, are you thinking it should
I
go?
mean, I don't. It's going to go above $5,000 easily, and
Oh,
I'm
10,
shocked at that. There's a lot of them.
It'll be 10 or 12 though. Regardless of the restoration, the 8.0. I mean, it is a high grade for that book. Yeah,
True, that's a
there's
good
more out
point.
there than people initially thought like a year or two ago or 3 years ago, but 8.0 is still really high grade. It's going to go over 10 or 12K.
And that's a high demand book.
It is
Yeah,
high demand. That's
it's a
true.
black
There's a
cover.
lot of people
It's a
who
good looking copy, admittedly, even though it has work done. But I mean, I think it's still a highly sought book. I mean, it's the second biggest seller right now. It's number 2 right after Cap 1, so it tells you there's a lot of interest.
There you
I'd
go.
say it attracts the type of people who might not. There's a percentage of those people who would want that book who wouldn't necessarily care about all this restoration stuff
Triple
as much
crap.
as we do. You know, they're not into it as much as we are. But they'd be happy to have that book because of the Joker tie.
The next one is one of the key books of the Golden Age. Is in a restored 4.5, more fun 73. First appearance of Speedy and 2 other guys named Aquaman and Green Arrow. But that's pretty good price so far. I mean, where do we think this one goes? Does it break?
What's the restoration?
It's
Restoration.
extensive amateur. It's another Franken book.
Yeah, it's got color touch, pieces added, tear seals, cleaned, reinforced, and then in parentheses, as a note, it says tape stains on interior cover, creamed off white pages.
Hmm.
So fair amount done.
The next book is
That
Is
could go
my-
for less
Maybe-
than that Joker book, maybe. You never
yeah.
know.
I mean, that's something I'm going to watch to see which beats out which, the Joker book or the more fun. I think the more fun is going to go higher because I think more people want that book. I mean, I should say this: true collectors who will pay more to have a more fun 73 would probably. We'll see in 2 weeks, but
Well, that's just
we'll
do
know
a
in 2 weeks. So.
quick poll of the panel.
You know, no back cover picks for the tech or the more fun.
Which one would you rather have? Price being the same. Which one would you rather have? Take a poll.
I'd do more fun.
I'm more fun.
More fun, but I think obviously a broader audience for Joker than there is for Green Lantern or Green Arrow and Aquaman.
I mean, they're both restored. I would take the tech, honestly.
Okay.
If I'm getting a restored key, that tech is a good looking copy for a restored. The other ones, even though it's resto, they're both resto. That more fun is not. It's got a lot of blotches on the cover. It just doesn't look as good. I'd take the tech.
It's an older slab too. So
I'd do the more fun if it was for my personal collection. 'Cause
Yeah.
I want to crack it open and look at the inside anyway.
there you go. The next book is my favorite book so far, and this is why I do. It's a Tech 10, signed by Craig, but Flessel himself, certified 3.0,
That's
not
cool.
restored. This is a unicorn in its own right. It's got to be. I know. I'm looking. I was about to go to the CGC to go check the census right here on this one.
Probably 25.
What do you think about it?
I
I
think
think it's going to be an interesting book to watch, man. This book can go anywhere.
It is. First of all, let's be honest. It's before Action 1. Okay, it's 1937. It's a full half year before it goes out there, and there are a total of 15 on the census. And Signature Series, it's the only one.
any Golden Age that old, almost every time you get a Signature Series is going to be one of a kind.
And
The replacement's badass too. It's right under the gun in the white part. I mean, that's
Yeah.
so cool.
So good.
Replacement.
and he is the cover artist. It's not like he's just a guy who did the inking on the interior.
Yeah, and it's got his signature on the book.
Yep.
That came on the book on the other side of the guy with the gun, and then he signed it in 2007 on the right side of the gun. So it's really cool where both of the signatures are. Honestly,
Yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of that. I want to see if
I would
anybody
say,
else-
unsigned, this would probably sell for 45 to 5. I think these early techs sell pretty good in these low grades.
I think it's just an amazing. For a Tech 10 is pretty tough to find to begin with, and to get a signed copy, somebody had to wait in line I mean, the only one. I'm sure it was a delight for Craig Flessel to sign that. Great item in an auction, you know.
And the fact that he signed it on the cover, not on the interior first page, too.
Which pretty rare for a Golden Age guy. The next one, I'm going to leave this up to DS. What do you think on this one? Catman 28.
This is one of those LB Cole books. It's very, very high on the LB Cole list. You got Mask 1 and 2, and then underneath that, I really think you have the second tier is really like the Catman 28, the Blue Bolt 105. Those are like the right under the mask. So this is a really high-end LB Cole book and a really badass book. The colors, the scheme, the drawing, and everything. This book is not as rare as I hear some people try to tell me it is. There's a fair number of them out there. But I always see sellers asking what I consider a high price, and this book sits and doesn't sell real well at those prices. But when it comes down a little bit, they sell good. The 4 or 5 is a pretty common range for this book, I think.
But I think this is probably one of the best presenting 4 or 5s you can find because it's really a 4 or 5 because of that tear right through the bottom of the C.
Yeah, and I've seen this book floating around in different areas. I don't know if the same seller just decided to send it to C-Link. But my estimate on this is, I'll say $5,000. It's my estimate on this.
Nice. That'd be nice. So $1,000 a point, Jeff. Okay. Next one, All-Star number 6.
eBay, and the ask on that is like over 8,000, and it's not going to sell for 8,000, even a 6.0. But this 4 or 5 will probably sell. It's off white. It's a good looking copy. I think $5,000 on it's fair price.
Next one's kind of an interesting book here. It's a high grade 7.5 All-Star number 6, 1941, and the page quality by CGC is white pages. I'm going to let Jeff take this one. White pages on an All-Star 6, pretty attractive, no?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously anytime you can see white pages on even a Silver Age book or Bronze Age book is just a pleasure. And do I think it's going to make that much of a difference on a 7.5 All-Star 6? I don't think so. I think it's whatever the mark. I'm not sure what the average sale is on this book at a 7.5.
I do like.
I think it's going to go much more than, if it does, even 10% more than what it normally would. Maybe. For me, I just don't think it's an in-demand enough book. Why or not?
Is this the only book with the Justice Society having Sandman, Hourman, looks to me Hawkman, Green Lantern, Wally West, honorary member, and Spectre? And who else is in there? I mean, you got a full cast of characters on the cover.
Dr. Fate on there.
Dr. Fate right there. Sandman in the background. I mean,
on number 3.
Yeah, good book. Okay. Next one we're going to come down to, we're going to talk really quick. We have a 9.2. Lois Lane solo stories begin, but let's get even more of this. This is a 9.2 Superman, number 28. Pretty yellow cover. Anybody want to take a stab at this one?
I always like this cover. I like when you throw in mythological gods, you got, and that's always for me just fun, especially when you're measuring Superman up against them, I mean, 9.2 is a solid book. I mean,
oh boy,
Jesus,
in there. It's a great book right there. I think it's a good one here. All right, this book I want to talk about. I'm going to have Knights take care of this. This is a great. Alex Schoenberg, one of my favorite Schoenberg covers, period. Doesn't have to be a war cover. I'm just saying Schoenberg favorite cover, period. It's got a tied up Hitler and Hirohito, Alex Schoenberg right there, Wonder Comics, both flags of the 2 Axis nations right there, not Italy, but the other one. It's Schoenberg at its finest. This is currently, you see the current bid. Is it the
800?
Yep. Is it the PGX Kiss of Death? Or am I kidding when I say that I think somebody should be buying this book, cracking it, and shipping that thing up to CGC after a good clean and press? This is a beautiful book. Anybody else? Knights, talk to me.
Well, the corners look like there's some weird discoloration going on the upper corner.
Yeah, I don't know if that's water damage or.
Yeah,
But
I think exactly what I was thinking. Is it water damage that's kind of had the color loss? It's hard to tell without a back cover scan.
I mean, in that
we
grade,
can get a bad back cover photo up here pretty easily.
I'll tell you, this is a Gen 1 PGX I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
You wouldn't touch a Gen 1 PGX.
Huh?
I thought Gen 1 would be better. I've had a lot of success with early PGX.
Well, the early PGX, and I could be wrong, but I did a lot of research on this, and the conclusion I've reached is that early PGX has a lot of issues, missing resto, missing incompleteness.
That's what I was going to say. The one thing that would worry me on this would be a resto check.
I mean, if it truly is complete and unrestored, I think the grade is probably pretty close. But the problem is the old PGX, like this era, man, they missed resto left and right. I don't think they were looking closely or had the skill to do it. And I've heard horror stories of people buying old PGX, and it's got color touch, it's got pieces, it's got wraps missing. I mean, I think that was a bigger problem in the old PGX than it is now. But grade wise, I don't have a problem with the grade. It's probably pretty close to 4 or 5, I would think. But
the integrity of the cover, the picture on the cover, is pretty beautiful purples right there. I mean, Knights, what do you think? Do you own this one?
Well, I mean, if I wanted that, I would expect to at least pay $1,500, and I wouldn't be surprised if I had to pay more than $2,000.
Okay. I agree. I think a Schoenberg pen is going to
pretty rare book, and there's discoloration, but at least from the picture I'm seeing here, it doesn't seem to affect the good art.
Someone reach out to Yanib. I want to know his opinion on this. He's a big Schoenberg and the Hitler covers there. Next one, Tech 114, Joker cover 5.0. It's tough. It's very tough at a high grade. Tough book there, Jeff.
Tough book. I have not seen this book very high grade. I do see it kind of hover around this 5.0. I had a 6.0 and it sat for a long period of time. I couldn't sell it. And it had a great presentation, but major foxing on the back. I was happy to get the grade that I got, and I guess when I think about it, I have not seen this book like some others in 7.5s, 7.0s, even 8.0s. So, from my experience, I would say this seems to be a little tougher than others to get in
a mid-grade book.
5.6.0.
Nice.
And a cool one, man. I like that one. I do like it. I mean, for some of the earlier Jokers, that's a decent one.
Now, this is one of my favorite Batman covers. It's the Scrabble cover. Second Riddler, but that's not the bigger point. I don't see this come up that often. Who wants to take this one?
Yeah, you don't see this book as often as the 140, but I don't think there's any difference in rarity. I just think it's more like less value, but and maybe I could be wrong. I've had this once or twice, and I've not had a 140, but that's maybe because of the price point I have to get into, or people just being for the first Riddler over his second appearance. But it's a really fun cover. And I've talked to other people, and they do tend to say that this book is a little harder to get. So that is kind of the common thought process on it.
Good. Well, let's go Action 20, classic Superman cover here. It is restored. Still,
most of the restoration is keeping that cover on.
Yeah, it looks like there's enough tape and everything on this cover. Probably something there. It looks completely detached. I mean,
no S on trivia.
That's no S on his uniform. 1940. I don't know. I don't know if I'd go. Is this an entry level Action?
What's the restoration?
It's color touch, tear seals, the spine of cover completely split and cover reattached with tape, pieces reattached to cover with tape, dried glue on cover, tape on interior. So they glued and taped the shit out of it to
keep it together.
It's a cool book.
I mean, it looks like if you look on the thug in the front with the green jacket, you can see where it looks like at the bottom a piece was taped back on.
Yeah, and this again, there's no back cover pick. A back cover photo would be it's essential for a book like that because the cover is split I want to see what the edge looks like on the back as well as the front. You know what I mean? Like the wrap around, like the whole spine is gone. I want to see how it looks, and it's tough to judge. You know, if you're putting big money out for a book, and it's got that kind of defect, it's important to see both sides of that defect. I mean, it's split all the way down. They're only showing the front, so a little disappointing that they do that. I think if you email them and say I'm interested, they'll send you a back cover pick, but that's kind of a pain to do. Every time you're interested in a big book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no reason you shouldn't have both sides of a book. That just should just be normal, standard, standards for when you're trying to sell a freaking book, man. Especially
it should be a requirement, in my opinion. I mean,
and it seems like this time I've seen the least amount of back covers that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
All the books, the Cap one is the only one that had a back cover pick. I think all the other ones we're looking at, none of them have back cover photos on.
Next book up is Superman 36. In the middle of a war, they're complaining about a banana peel and spilt milk on the floor. To me, this is a DC war book. That's what you get. A fridge open with a bed hit with a spoiled ham, a banana peel, and milk. But it is a 9.0. So
and it's not as bad as the one where he's wearing the apron.
That's true. There is the one where he wears the apron. Maybe that's coming up.
Did they misspell Mixelplick? Is that how you spell it?
I don't know.
I've always. Here's the thing. I think we pronounce it the way the cartoon in '73 came out is there, but that's not the actual pronunciation. It's there's no L until the end. So if you look carefully, we say Mitzel. There is no L. It's Miz, and I've heard it say it's Mizzelpuk, and that's what I've heard. What it is.
They had a cartoon in Batman or one of the animated cartoons he sees, and he made an appearance, and he literally had a Mixel, a something, and another, and told you exactly the way to pronounce it, and animated the whole thing. It was
nice.
Like Mixel, whatever. I mean, I have to watch it again, but if you ever want to, you can look it up. It was one of those Batman animateds or Superman animateds, and he showed up and he told you exactly how to pronounce it.
Here's the Mad Magazine #4, the Superman parody. I'm not a collector of Mad. Any Harvey Kurtz fans or?
I mean, I follow it as sort of casually as an accessory to the PCH world, and it's an EC book. Mad 1 sells good, and the rest don't. That's right. That's what I agree.
Here's some.
I love this cover.
This is fun. This is MLJ at its finest. This is a zip 2.5. It is what number was it? I passed
33.
33. I'm going to let anybody here who loves MLJs go, even though it's a generation. It's a PGX. Anybody here a big fan of Zip?
Oh, absolutely. MLJs like this. Peps, MLJs. Anytime you get people jumping in, Red Rib, Shield. I mean, this is amazing. A firing squad on nurses. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this is pure propaganda.
This is such good propaganda. Paul, talk to me about the propaganda on this one.
Well, I mean, this is like one of the most brutal ones that they've shown. I mean, it to me it ranks up there with the Cap Holocaust cover. I mean, it's
good call.
It's just so over the top that you just, if you were like, I mean, the adults buying this back then, they must have been like, we're gonna get them,
Oh yeah, this is definitely one of the tough ones to find right there.
And I'll tell you, the execution, it looks like they were going to carry it out with a mounted sort of Gatling gun or something.
Yep.
So yeah, this is way over the top, and it's bad to the bone. I mean, it looks pretty good for the grade. It's not a bad looking low grade copy. Cover detached, creamed off white, 2.5. I mean, that's a solid low grade.
Really awfully faded greens too, so that's pretty nice.
Yep.
The next one is
and a nice sub crease on it. Looks like.
All right, you Frazetta fans, talk to me about your Buck Rogers. This is a 6.5, which is a pretty good grade. Not the highest, but this is a good.
I think fans of the Frazetta Famous Funnies fall into camps. Those that really dig this cover and those that think it's really subpar and there's nothing special and they don't like it. There's not really any in between. I like this cover. I think it's one of the better ones in the run. Other people think it's just ho-hum. But it's a quality Frazetta book. All these Famous Funnies are awesome. It's Frazetta's best. My favorite Frazetta work is These Famous Funnies.
Very cool.
That's a nice copy.
I like that one. I think Jeff hates it, but
There's only so many Frazetta Famous Funnies. It's not like he did the entire run. So
Right.
I compare all of them. I have to have a tier system, and this is not in the top, 3 to 4 of them.
Yeah, he did what, 207 to 213, 215?
Maybe 14, 15.
Yeah, 214.
There's like 8 of them. Do you put this in the top half or not? You would say no.
Top half. Let me just think of them really quick.
I'll go back up.
So let's just say there's 7 of them only. So top half will be 3.5. So no, I would put it.
Yeah, I mean, I like 213 the best, and then there's that one where the girl's sort of floating in space, and it's a dark cover, and there's like a UFO, and she's sort of out there floating, and I think her hands and feet are bound, and she's floating in free in space. That one's up there. I like this one, and then this one is tied with me for. There's one with like an octopus on it. It's a green cover.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yep.
That one's tied with this one. Oh yeah, I think that other one blows this out the water for me.
That's what I'm saying. I like this one. It's the colors are good. I like the 2 demons. We're looking from behind them, and it's very cinematic. This looks like a scene out of a 1930s Fritz Lang movie, and I just
Perfect.
I dig the composition, but I can see why it's not a knock your socks off type cover, but the arrangement, it's very cinematic to me, and I dig it.
I think this was. I read about this recently. I think they said this was his tribute to Alex Raymond.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
That would be nice. That would be good. That's very cool then. This book here, it's an Ogden Whitney, Avenging Acts. This falls to me in that pre-code horror 1947 kind of thing going on. The Avenging Acts, the Damsel in Distress, Ogden Whitney, and LB Cole in there.
It's pretty cool.
It's also the first of its issue, and it's a pretty good grade at a 5.0.
Yep. I would also like to point out, JD, that also has Fred Gardner art, who did the cover of your Unicorn.
Yes, he did do Adventure Comics 34. That sumbitch. That's
I mean, Manhunt had some good artists.
it did.
It looks like a spanking cover. You know.
The Manhunt title, nobody really. I mean, there's connoisseurs of Golden Age that knew about it, but nobody really was aware of this title until like a couple of years ago, and this has easily risen to the top as the best book in the title until the purportedly non-existing number 12 has popped into existence now, and that one is still fetching high prices. And I think this is a better cover, although that one has the rarity attached to it that's keeping it way ahead of this one. But man, a couple of years ago, I remember looking like a year and a half ago, there was like a 4.0 for like, I don't know, $300 on eBay, and I almost pulled the trigger on it, and I didn't, and it sold within like 2 hours, and ever since then, they've never been cheap again. So
I think
And Ogden Whitney transforms not just comics. He was a very well-known artist of the time.
I
Isn't there another
like
Manhunt?
the cover he did with the woman at the table with the wine glasses, and it's like a werewolf hand holding the wine glass or whatever.
That sounds familiar. He was one of the number one that the U.S. used as a propagandist poster. Ogden Whitney, well known.
I think there's also a Manhunt cover with a hypodermic needle cover rising.
yeah.
That's another favorite of this run.
Here's
There's another one I like that doesn't seem very popular, where it's a girl strapped down, almost like she might be on a gurney, being in like a funeral, in like a morgue or something.
Yeah, she's pulled out of like a morgue drawer or something like that.
Yeah, there's like there's like a creeper there and some guy to protect her. But then there's the hypodermic one with the little tiny troll guy on top of her with the hypodermic. That one's a pretty good one. This one seems to be more classic than those, and rarer. I don't know. I like this one a lot. It's probably my favorite one.
nice. The next book here is you're going to see it's pretty high price, but there's one reason only. We got a head missing.
Oh yeah.
Right. But the blood is gushing out.
Look at this. It's done. This is Fight Comics 31, 1944. Fiction House doesn't get into the horror this early, but I think this is a great war cover book. Knights, actually, DS, is this on your list? I mean, I understand the grade's a 1.8, but this is probably the peak of the fight gore covers. It's on your list?
It's not on my list. It's too, and this is just my personal taste. It's too World War II-ish for me.
Okay.
That was occurring like in a suburban area, I'd be much more attracted to it. But this is like the horrors of war, and it's World War II. It's cool. I like it, but it's not on my list. But if I found one at a good price, I would jump on it for sure, and I would have trouble letting it go, but I probably would. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's one of the more prolific decapitation ones outside of pre-code horror. I mean, this predates the stuff that I'm into by,
3 years.
years.
And this is one of the ones that was graded after they stopped putting resto on stuff with tape. Because if you look at it, it says cover and centerfold reattached with tape, tape on cover, interior cover, and interior.
So probably a more recent grade.
Yep.
I'm ready to go when you are for.
This is one of my favorite of the Frazettas. This is the first Buck Rogers he did. I like this one. And now we go back to the ones about the 7 or 8 covers he did. Where do you rank this one, Jeff and DS?
Well, wait, and most people include the Buster Cab or whatever,
Buster Crab,
and the weird science
Fantasy 29.
Yep.
$1 million cover one. Yeah, they those are the bookends, and I think it makes it 10 or 8.
Buster Crab 5 is a Buck Rogers story.
Yeah.
So funny.
This is my least favorite of the Famous Bunnies.
That's what I was.
I like the girl, but I don't.
The girl is the one that makes the cover. Yeah.
Like if he's on like land at all, I'm not really liking them as much as the ones where okay, put him in space, put him in water.
Yeah, I get that.
You ready for me to go, JD?
This is you, all you.
No, I mean for the show and tell.
Oh well, yeah. First, talk about this book because this is in your wheelhouse.
Well, yeah, I mean, I like the earlier Darings, but I mean, this is still an early Daring, but yeah, I don't know. It's a very cool book, but when you're collecting timelies and you're not rich and famous,
I mean,
you have to cut them out, and this is definitely one of them that I don't really.
I mean, did they just make up these characters for this? I mean, Captain Daring, the Blue Diamond, the Challenger, the Finn, and of course the Thunderer.
Yeah, I mean, Martin Goodman wanted them to try out all kinds of stuff and see what stuck.
I think the most important thing about that book is it has the full page ad for Submariner 1.
Yep. Here we go. All right, we're gonna take a little break from this thing before we go back, and let's. We have Knights is going to show us some stuff. What do you got?
All right, so a little bit of a prep for this story. So basically, I'm drawn to impossible things to find naturally, but kind of like in this quest for some of these things I'm going to show is just as tough as Golden Age, the hunt, which makes it enjoyable. But also can be frustrating and whatnot. But I'm going to start with showing you what I think makes these similar to the Golden Age comics, and that is, and I'm talking about Japanese books. And this one isn't very old, but this will show you what I mean by similar to the Golden Age in the fact that these come out every week. They're super thick.
Mm-hmm.
They're cheap, and they have about 10 different stories in them, most of them black and white. There's a little section that's in color, but not much. And there's like 10 to 15 different stories. You could see the different colored papers because they use the best papers they can get. So whatever is available. And if a series does well. I think there's something like you can mail. They come with like a card that you can mail in back in the day, you know, before the internet. And if they got enough people saying how popular one of the things was, then they would make it into a smaller book like this.
Ooh.
And this is kind of the reason why these are like the golden age, because these are all thrown away and these are kind of crappy paper. They take up tons of room. You know, you imagine getting like 52 of these in a year, it would just take up so much space. So just by being, you know, something that's meant to be thrown away makes it somewhat rare. And they go back to the 50s. So I've been chasing some covers. When there's a character I like, I try to find out when that character first appeared in one of these books, the big ones, the weeklies, and then I try to find out when or if they ever got cover, because the cover usually rotates. So here's like one that I like a lot, and that's Yamato. Maybe some of you have seen Star Blazer anime. It's like anime that was on in the 80s here. But, you know, so you could see like they go from this to this. And then, so these being pretty rare, this one's only from 1978. It's still good luck finding one, but it's not really worth too much, really. But, you know, there's not too many covers with just them on it. And so with that in mind, I've been chasing, you know, there's some that are pretty expensive. Here's the one that I've shown on Instagram.
Yep.
It's by this really good artist, Go Nagai, and this is Devilman. And like, I'm not entirely sure if this is the first time he appeared in the book, but this is the first. Sometimes they do first appear when they're on the cover the first time, but typically not. I mean, probably him, because he was a well-known artist at this time, so they might have put his debut new series on the cover of the first one. But you know, again, like most of these thrown away, this one's from 1972.
Good.
Now I'm getting to one of my things I've been searching for a while now. And so another cool thing is, way back, I'm not entirely I think they stopped doing this in the late 60s, but some of these early books used to also come with freebies. And I'm having a hard time trying to track down like how they bundled them, because I think back in the like 50s, you know, I don't think they had poly bags. So I'm guessing they might have like, you know, put them in this, but they would come with little.
There's no serrated edge or anything else that it would have been.
No.
Wow.
And
that was
this
pretty common in the 50s in magazines. So
yeah, this didn't come with that, but because this one's from 1958. This is a very early Tetsujin, one of the first giant robots.
Wow.
This is really cool. Very rare. But so basically you'll get, it's like another layer of coolness where you'll get, you know, you'll have the weekly, and every now and like, I think, well, it depends. Sometimes they'll come out every month or something with something like this, a rare thing with the character that you want. But you know, it's just all just throwaway stuff, because again, even these they will reprint in these kind of things, because these go back pretty far.
Wow.
So the one that I really have been searching for was done by the god of manga, they call him. And he was born in 1928. So he was 17 when the bomb went off, you know, and he started drawing manga, I think, when he was like 20 or something, very early. He was inspired by comics that the GIs brought over. He was also inspired by Walt Disney cartoons. And he had a couple successful series, but this one really made him super popular. And this is from 1953. So we're talking 8 years after the bomb. And this was a freebie, but for some reason it was large. But it did come. I'll show you a book. That was another crazy thing, is like, even though this character was pretty popular, it took about 10 years for him to start actually making the covers. They always had like a boy on these covers.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I was trying at first to find a cover of this character on this book, like an early one. And then I found out about these little freebie things, and it took me a while to track down. And they're the value of them are not, I mean, maybe mint somewhere in some crazy auctions that I can't see from America or something. But this is the first solo freebie book of, I'm sure you'll recognize that character.
Oh,
Astro Boy, but
Astro Boy,
on
so.
the Mighty Atom.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
That is very much the golden age of manga. 8 years after the bomb, and they didn't really have manga back then. And this was one of the first, sci-fi series that really took off. And I mean, it's really beat up. They're hard to find, very, very hard to find. I don't think the culture is really, they're very into not buying like the newer, nicer stuff, it seems like, and not keeping things like that around. Like, there's certainly more of the Astro Boy early books like this around for sure. And they would just throw those away. They're meant to be recycled. They were recycling even back then. So anyway, it's very awesome.
Cool. Awesome. Well,
Hey, there is
Uh,
one manga that is on my list, and it might be an appropriate time to show it.
go
I
ahead.
don't know anything about it, but I think this is probably, they had like their version of the Comics Code Authority, and it was like indecent publication law or something, and they passed that, and that was like 1975, I think. And so right prior to that, I don't know what year, but this one came out, and this one is, if I ever come across this, I will be so happy to get it. It's, there's one on eBay for 70,000. That's the picture that I keep looking at.
Yeah.
This book, and it's this one.
Yep.
And it's just obviously right up my alley. And I can see why they had their own CCA movement after stuff like this. Pretty brutal.
Gut shot. And he's wearing Beatles pants.
And I don't even know the name of this. I don't know anything about it, except it's like from the 70s, right before their Comics Code Authority thing. And this is what it looks like. So I have no idea.
Yeah, and don't buy these on eBay, because there's a lot. You know how we used to throw up Golden Age, people who had rare Golden Age books would throw it up for like, $30,000 or best,
Yeah.
they really had no idea what the price was, and they just wanted to get like fish it around, That's what this guy's doing.
There's one listed on eBay
I'll
right
keep my eye
now
out
for
for you.
70K.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know if you see one, Knights. I mean, I would pay a PCH level price for it because it's so cool.
There is a whole horror time period, which is pretty neat. I was reading about it the other day, and they talked about how they invented, or so this book said, that they invented the bleeding blood or crying blood thing. So
I want to shout out some new members to the chat that we got here. Crazy Guy, Comic Strong Too Crazy, Biggest Shack Brother. Great shouting out at each other here. Comic Books NYC, we saw him come hang out here. Also, we've got Mark Spector Comics. It's Real Life Comics 28 going up for auction next weekend at a local auction house near me. Interesting. Real Life Schomburg, probably. Wally Wood, and we got Kachung.
Let me show one more thing.
Sure.
Want to show.
Bringing you on. Sorry.
So here is that number one, and then
Astro Boy.
You could see, the here's they immediately. Well, it happened a full year. The next one was a year after 1954, but they started to shrink them.
Okay.
And then, so this is number two.
Has condition been an issue for them?
Number three. They have their own grading system.
Kind of like pulps.
And it's kind of broken English. So, I have some friends over there, and but they're like, I don't know who collects this stuff, so it's just not as popular. Like an Astro Boy toy will go for like 10 times the amount of this. So they're more into toys and models and stuff like that. But the Astro Boy, a really crappy, my wife saw it, a really not so great comic page turned up. I think it was 10 years ago in the Sotheby's auction, and it wasn't not even close to as early as these or as nice as these. But it was Astro Boy page, which was extremely rare, original art, and that went for 280 euros, 80,000 euros,
almost,
which is a lot.
Right, $330,000.
Yeah, so he's pretty popular, like worldwide.
Nice. Electric Maestro is here. He's says interesting talk about the Golden Age companies beyond Marvel. We like doing that too as well. Thank you for enjoying it. Comic Books NYC. We had Kavi in here. I think I got Wolf Blitz. What's going on? Good having you here. We got Chris Barrett still keeping control. Everything, or Super Wrench. I think I got everybody. I just want to courteous. Tech 31 was here. I know that.
Yep.
Scott, we talked about that. Atomic Boy. NC Slapjacks. Good having you here. We're going to go right back to the auction in a second. Okay, so let's go back to this here.
By the way, I would like to point out Immortal Biggie Shack's comment. He said, "How does an American have that? Did you kill a ninja?"
So funny.
Nice. Okay, so
I've been ordering a lot from there, and it's kind of weird. Actually, it was that number one, and it comes from this shipping called DHS or DHL or something.
DHL.
And I don't know what the hell was going on, but I got one package, and my kid was like, "There's a package out there," and my wife went out, and then it was like on the lawn, like just laying there, like way far away from the door. So I don't know what the hell was going on with that. Maybe someone tried to like take
Ace
it.
Ventura delivered it, right?
But
in the beginning of Ace Ventura, he kicks that book around.
And that was the book I was telling you kept being held up by customs.
Right. You said 3 different times it traveled around. Yeah.
I was really worried about that. So
back to this auction here. For DC fans love this, and I get it. This is their rah-rah. This is All-Star Comics 22. Flag patriotic cover. It's all right. However, I want to point something out on this one. Old Label 990. Jeff, is that something in DC that you go for? You search down those old labels?
Absolutely. If I can, I will always take a hard look at a book that's got an old label. Just because it's an old label doesn't mean it's going to get upgraded. You usually just want to see what that was. Obviously, if you got color breaks, you're not going to, get that past the 9.0. But most people are going to look at it, try to see if they can upgrade it. So you take a really good look at the scans, but I always take a second glance at anything that's an old label.
Nice.
Well, I think you misspoke there, Jeff. They can't take a look at the scans, plural. And only through the front.
And again, only fronts right now.
And they must know Old Label, that would bring more money from people who think it's got a CPR bump potential. But you got to show the back cover, man. You know what I mean?
I'm looking at it, and I don't know that it would get above a 9.0 because the spine side corners are both dinged pretty good, and there's a little tiny color chip out of the top cover.
Now, there is one thing consistently is you do get a better bump in page quality generally for those.
I've heard that, definitely. I've got a few Old Label 9.2, 9.4s, Bronze Ages that I keep around.
See, if you go straight up from that 10 cents, you can see that little white color chip at the top of the...
Well, and that right here sort of chipped off too. It's mangled a little bit. Yeah, I cracked out a Champions 1, not a huge book or anything, but it was a 9.6 off-white to white, and it was in an old holder like this. And I ended up getting a 9.8, but it went from off-white to white, so that was nice too.
That's good. Here's a typical Al Hollingsworth skull right here. Last week they were in a cab. The other time he was in a plate. Now Beware again has somebody else driving a boat right now. This is a pretty common Beware, but it's probably the most popular of the bunch. Would you say that? Beware 9? Is this the one that everybody wants? DS?
Beware 10 is by far and away the
Right.
best set of zombies throwing a girl. That's the best one. But aside from that, Frazetta Beware 10, there's the next tier. This is probably in it.
Nice.
5, that's a high grade for these books. You know what I mean?
Ship paper, yeah.
That scarf just kills me, man. You might as well have an
I know. It's just
like
there. It's from Charles Nelson Riley or something from a Match Game or something.
The head is just too big for the body. I'm just like, oh god.
Charles Manson Riley. There we go. Crime Suspense Stories 5. Craig Gaines, Felson Stories. Everybody. Jack Kamen, Jack Davis, Fred Ingalls. Everybody's here in this book. It is a 9.4, and I'm shocked at the grade, but it is the Drowning cover. Pre-code horror fans may not. Would you go after this for the grade itself, DS?
I mean, I'm not an EC guy, and I'm not a high grade EC guy. I'm neither of those. But they're saying third highest graded. The thing about EC, third highest graded means there's probably 4 9.8s, 8 9.6s, and there might even be a couple 9.4s. It's not an ultra high grade, but it's nice. I don't know. I mean, it's a beautiful copy of a cool ass book. I have no idea what it would sell for, and I don't know if high grade EC collectors where this falls, because EC books, they get high. I mean, Shock 6 has 2 9.9s.
I did see that on a.
Books go really high in grade these EC, especially the Gaines copies. So I don't know where this falls. I really couldn't tell you.
Yeah, because there were multiple Gaines copies of almost every issue.
Yeah, I think this is a Gaines copy.
It's not listed as one.
Yeah, it doesn't say it. So I don't know. I mean, look, it's a killer copy of a cool ass book. I don't know what it would sell for, but I would, if I saw this and I had the money, I would probably pay, I don't know, $2,000. I would pay $2,000 for that probably. If I'm collecting EC and I saw this, I think $2,000 is probably a fair price. Probably go higher. I don't know.
You might get it for that, man. I don't know. I haven't looked at this, but I think that you might win it at that one. The Shock, the 9.9, are those? I don't know. I want to say, were those one of them? I thought was CBCS. Are those both CG? Are they CGCs or?
There might also be a CBCS, and also, I mean, nobody would have cracked it out, but there's 2 9.9s on the CGC census.
Wow!
I just looked at the census for that book, the Crime Suspense Stories. There's 3 9.8s and 5 9.6s.
Wow.
How many 9.4s?
2.
Okay, so it's a high grade, but for EC, it's not.
It's one of the top 10 books.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful copy. Yeah. Look up, if you're right there, look up on the census, look up Shock Suspense Story 6. I think there's 2 9.9s on the CGC census. Shock Suspense Story 6.
Here's one we're going to shout out. One of our favorite artists on the Golden Guys is Bill Everett cover, classic cover, 8.5 copy. It is a River City pedigree. I don't really love River City pedigree books, and I'm a pedigree fan. Not that so much that pedigree, it's just a personal feeling. There's nothing that really wowed me about him as much as, say, a Western Pen or a Savannah. But this is a great copy of a great book. I mean, this is a great Bill Everett cover. Anybody want to shed some light if anybody interested? I think this is going to go because of the pedigree at a 25% bump, and I don't think Red River City's a 25% bump pedigree, in my opinion. There's a lot of River City books. So
Yeah, for PCH, there's not as many pedigrees as there are for like other types of books, but for PCH, I don't think it's one of the more sought after pedigrees.
yeah, I think Northland would be the number one for pre-code horror because I think the entire pedigree is pre-code horror, or at least what people considered pre-code horror at the time. It was not going to have every pre-code horror book, but the Northland is a very.
I think you might be thinking of Northbird. I think there's Northbird.
Just right. Yeah. No. Yeah.
And I think Crippen D has a pretty good selection of pre-code horror stuff. Pennsylvania has some decent ones. But yeah, 8.5 off weight. It's just the highest graded. Third highest graded. Amazing.
One of the top 5. So it's a tie. So. But
And there are two 9.9s for that Shock Suspense Story 6.
Wow. Only this is the classic Batman cover. Good book. Jeff, I know you've had this book. I know you have one, right?
I don't think I have this book right now.
You did have one. I know that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I've had this book. I don't have one right now. Only Dream Picture. I mean, it's just a cool, captivating cover. Black, Ring of Fire. But these books are hit or miss, man. These Batmans, after a certain point, you're really just gonna, whether it's 5.5, 6.0, 7.5, you just kind of, I don't know. It goes by the cover and its eye appeal, and there just isn't a lot of key stuff after like number 11 and after first Alfred and after Hirohito.
You kind of
after 20, you're 24 obviously, but you start grasping at straws here pretty quickly.
I mean, even to call it the only Penguin Joker team up in the Golden Age, that's not really that good of a team up, The next one here is a classic Jack Kamen. Cowgirl Romance is one. It's the number one of an issue. I'm not really big into them. Anybody? Just the title.
I'm not into that title, but when I see this book, and I've seen it a few times, more recently when I've seen some of these Cowgirl Romances, especially this one, looking at it now, I really wish it was like a Manili or like a Russ Heath cover to light and shadow and the way the darkness of this is. That's just my only comment. But yeah, I think it's a cool book, dark cover, 7.5. If that was a Matt Baker, man, that'd be like $7,000.
Oh yeah, and I think we're coming to Baker coming up in a little bit.
That's not one of the better covers either. Being the first issue, there's just much better covers in that run.
Yep. Here we got a Haunt of Fear 18, 9.2, another high grade for an EC. Ray Bradbury adaptation, which I know people like it. It's pretty common. There's a lot of pulps I have that are Ray Bradbury pulps. This reminds me of that in a way. Haunt of Fear 18, is this one of the top ones?
This is my favorite
one up.
cover.
That one's got 4.98s, 4.96s, and 2.94s.
Yeah, this is my favorite EC cover because you can get lost looking at this illustration because
there's so much stuff. Look at the head.
And there's so many like body parts and skulls together. It's tough to figure out what's exactly happening. There's like a skull on the left that looks like it's eating somebody, and their legs hanging out. It's like a punch 12 on the left side, and then the right side, it's got like a guy leaning on the corner, and the bottom of him is not legs. It's like a hand. I can't figure out what's going on here, and it's really cool, and it's my favorite EC cover.
It's Ingalls at his best.
Yeah, it's just
very good.
I really like it.
Back 233. First Pin Arp is a Batwoman. Not as popular as the Silver Age, but I think this book. It's not Barbara Gordon, right?
Girl.
I'm not really. I do like this just because I like any of the Batmobiles that had that on there from the 50s. I actually have the car for that. But we've got another Wonder Comics here that I want to bring up here. One of I like this Schoenberg. Schoenberg fans, what's your opinion on this one? Bunch of Nazis.
Just another cover to me.
Mhm.
I like the Tech 233 better than this by far for me.
Okay.
Very miscut cover
That
too.
one looks weird though because it's either
On an angle.
it's like severely miscut or in the
Slab terribly.
or something. I can't figure out.
Quality control. Missed that one.
No, I'm sure it's bad.
The side looks okay.
Well, if we could see the back. Here's a timely here. Schoenberg Submariner. This is number 8. As big as he is when he could pick up an aircraft carrier by himself. Anybody?
I like that.
You like it? There you go. That's
That's an important copy too.
It's
a low
it's a
grade.
decent cover. I like that one.
yeah. For a low grade book, this presents ridiculously well.
And slightly brittle, so it's going to go even cheaper.
Yeah.
Slightly
I mean,
brittle.
really bright reds on it.
Nice.
I wouldn't pay more than 500, but I'm sure it'll go for more than that.
Now this okay. Is this the pre-code horror book?
If you're obviously asking me first,
Yep.
look, this does not hold any particular status for me among PCH. It is not the first horror cover. It's 1945. There's covers that are horrific earlier than this.
Mhm.
It's not a horror book through and through, so it's not a true horror book. I give that to Eerie 1 in 1947.
Mhm.
It's just a cool sort of horror crime cover from the 40s. It's like a bunch of other ones. It doesn't have any special status to me. You can dig up books from 41 through 44 that have horror type covers on them too. I mean, what's so special about this horror cover? It's not. It's a cool book, but it's not. It doesn't have any special PCH status to me. That's just my thoughts on it.
I have this book, a pretty nice copy of this book, and we can flip through it. It's raw. I kept it. I only kept this book. I've had this book for 8 years at least. I only kept it because I thought it was cool. I didn't really know at the time value, status, or what. And I've only recently, in the last year, just started to see people, where this book is moving and how hard it has been to find. But yeah, I'm not sure. There becomes that thing. You have horror covers, but horror covers don't necessarily mean it's the first horror cover because it's not a horror book. So it's just I don't know what that
Yeah, I don't. It just says scarce, so maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, there's bureau covers from the 40s. There's probably 25 bureau covers that predate that with a similar theme that you could call horror covers.
But they're prime books.
Well, okay, right. Yeah, I know, but I mean that's sort of like the same thing, except that guy is obviously not quite human. I don't know. It's definitely hard to find, and it's definitely super cool. I'm not downplaying the book itself. I want one someday, but I'm not paying this premium for it because it's the first PCH book, and it's just not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Human Torch 19, Schoenberg again. Mike? Or
That's a good one. Yeah, this auction's weird. Like, I feel like a lot of the keys are missing.
yeah,
So
I mean this is a very
Yeah, I mean it's definitely
entry
full of-
level. Yeah, I mean I like it because it's one of those where there's some stuff you'll look for. Mr. Mystery 4. Wait a second here now. This is pretty intense.
That's
I like this one. I've always liked it because of the painting of the painting. And it reminds me of another book where they're painting somebody being killed, but she doesn't see it. And
I think that's a Beware, and I think it's a skull character. And I think, Jeff, on that Beware, he might be wearing a scarf too because he's got like a French cap on in his painting. French cap and a scarf on the other Beware, where it looks like this.
And that's an Andrew and Esposito cover, so that's got to be very early when they first got together because they did all that work on Wonder Woman together.
mm-hmm.
I like the Mr. Mysteries that this red bar down the side cheapens it to me. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you imagine the full art all the way to the end? I mean, it would look great.
Yeah, it makes it look like what's that publisher that did all like the blue bolts and all the 4-star, and they had all that cheese ball.
Like Star Publication stuff?
What is it?
Are you talking about Star Publication
Star?
stuff? Or are you talking about
Star has one too, though, that I'm not a big fan of. I think maybe Novelty was big on that. I think.
Yeah, you have your Frisky Frables you had too, right? That had all that on one side.
Oh yeah, I mean I got one here that is one of the better examples of it.
Let me see it. Yeah, do you have it readily available?
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay, hang on. Sorry, I gotta.
This is one of the least intrusive sidebars on a Frisky Fables because the art actually goes in front of it.
Mhm.
But yeah, this one's not as bad. It's really thin, and the art's over top of it. But yeah, I mean, the sidebars never adds to a comic. Sometimes, at best, it doesn't detract. That's how I feel about those sidebars.
So, you Joker fans, what's your opinion on this Tech 91? I've seen it. I mean, I'm not too crazy about it. So, Starling, this is a Graham Ingles. Kind of like this cover. This insect it's kind of cool.
You gotta change your screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did that again. Sorry, we're still on DS, aren't we?
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Sitting here, I'm on my phone now. I'm not even. Didn't know.
All right, there it is. There it is. I like it. It's Graham Ingles. I just kind of like the bug part of it there. I'm not really a bug fan at all, but it's just kind of cool that he's kind of like about to have a conversation with them. Like, look, I'm taking her away. You know?
I'm surprised they didn't tag that one as a headlights cover.
Yeah, that is a Graham Ingles headlights cover for sure. All right. First appearance of Kirkman. Hey, look, I don't really care about that. This is a Venus. Venus have gotten very popular as of late. We discussed this a few times. I don't know who graded this. I don't want
PGX.
Okay.
That's their newest label.
Yeah, that's their new one.
I didn't think there's one that. It's popular right now. Venus is Venus 1. Venus have gotten popular, so there you go. Tales from the Crypt 25. Body parts all over the place. DS. It's an EC, but a lot of body parts on this one.
Yeah, I mean, they're not real body parts.
Uh,
Or something.
51 Catwoman cover and origin first issue of Selena Kyle name. How significant is that her alter ego's first name? Is that a big deal? Other than she's throwing cats at him?
I mean, I would consider that standard as part of the origin story. So
Yeah, I wouldn't go crazy about because it's first time in her name. It's some baffling. This is a very popular book, one of my favorite Pieta covers.
I looked at this. This is a weird copy. I'll say in a second, but
it presents well. I want to know why it's only a 4.5.
well, if you look across the bottom third, it looks like
Is that a tear all the way through?
I don't think it's a tear. It's definitely folded.
Okay.
it's like an expensive printer crease, but it almost looks like there's a tear to part of it. But I don't
Right
know.
here.
No, that looks like that white part. It looks like it's the light on her swimsuit.
Yeah, I know, but the crease that starts after that is.
Oh yeah.
Here, right through, and then you kind of see it right over here, and then that's probably phase out.
So I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty classic cover, and this is other than that is the black on top. It's tough to find a good copy of this, so it's a decent one. I don't know about those creases are weird though.
Yeah.
Batman Waving Away says this is the anniversary issue. It's 1942, and they're just riding around in the Jeep, keeping Robin in the back. Not a big fan. Anybody else? First mention of the secret underground hangars, which become the Batcave. Again, you're fishing for keys here.
Yep.
I don't really care about that stuff. This one I do like. Of the Superman covers, this is probably one of my favorite World War II ones. There aren't that many of them. Anybody opinion? This White Pages, 1943. Make it a little more attractive. Good book.
At least it's
Jeff,
9.55.
Is that a rare one, Jeff? I don't follow these, but I don't think I see this one very often.
I don't know how. I can't say it's really rare. I think for me, after you get after the Periscope issue and American, Eagle and Shield, again, just like the Batmans, you're kind of grasping here. If you're a Superman fan, you're just gonna love it, true and true, regardless. But you know how there's those things that you like about books, and it kind of transcends just the hero himself or the title. The cover. This is just a cover in the run. It is decent. It is compared to some of the others. The explosion in the background, the boat, the missile. I mean, it's got a lot of action to it, actually. So yes, it's definitely one of the better ones. And I just don't think it's any more rare, especially at 4.0 anyway. I mean, the White Pages
Right.
a little bit, but it's still a 4.0. So
Yeah, I think you take Superman off and put a giant whale on there and make it an adventure comics, and it's better.
This is the better of the Captain of the Penguin covers. If you're a fan of the Penguin, you can have him riding a goose, or you can have him riding a dragon, or just hanging out by himself here. It's just a bad Batman for me, but it's 6.0, pretty good grade, white pages. I'm going to say it. It's not too bad.
It's got a lot of foxing on the left side.
Yeah, I was afraid that was mold for a minute there. Here we have the Blonde Phantom. Schoenberg cover right here. Fighting Yank, you got everybody here hanging out. A little bit of bondage cover. Doesn't say it, but it is.
Blonde Phantom? I don't think
That's
That's not
Madam
Blonde
Mask
Phantom. That's, Madam Mask.
or Miss Mask or
Yeah, one of the two. It's always I always
Masquerade. We got a little fun right here with some Ginger, classic sexist cover, rare in middle grade or higher. I've seen raws of these probably in better condition than that on the CGC boards, but this is pretty one that I've always seen sold for pretty good price.
I feel like that's a more affordable version of Archie 50. Is it Archie 50 or the?
When Betty's on there and she's dreaming of
Yeah, I
Archie.
feel like both of these are sort of similar, but this is like the poor man's of that.
We got some Fawcett love here. We're not going to not give Fawcett some love here. First, Mary Marvel on her own story. I do like Mary Marvel. Pretty cool. This is
that All Flash. That's like the Mary Marvel's version of All Flash quarterly.
okay. Yeah. This right now is a well-known cover. It's obviously Superman with the lightning and first Lois Lane cover. What's the restoration on this? Because this is a pretty affordable copy.
Disputed the first Lois Lane.
its front cover was reglossed.
And some people say it was an earlier number, I think. Jeff?
I don't remember the number, but he's flying away with her on the cover, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So, I don't know.
52 classic first issue, the first Mad magazine. We're not really going to get into that. But again, DS has that stuff going outside. It's humor in a jugular vein. Kind of funny there. Mad number 5. Jack Davis, Wally Wood.
Is Mad? I feel Mad might be one of those things that is gonna slip away, and no one's gonna even know what the hell.
I mean, it was
Right? Because it doesn't even. Does it even exist anymore?
I don't think they print it anymore.
No, it might. I get a lot of people asking for it still every con. Especially the pre-magazine stuff.
That's
right.
cool.
This stuff here. Adventure Comics 81, kind of a cool Jack Kirby.
Yeah, I like that one.
The Time Sands of
classic.
Time. Yeah. Crime Mysteries 14, Pre-Code Horror, Painted in Blood.
I used to have a copy of this. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty popular title for the crime titles. The whole run has pretty decent covers. It's one of the better crime titles. This is one of the better covers.
Why is he smiling? Oh, it's a tunnel of heart. What is
Well,
this?
they're coming through the tunnel and they don't know he's there.
Oh, yeah.
Remember those masks? Those
Yeah.
you had the like front only rubber.
Oh, yeah.
Rubber, and then that thing had the tightest rubber band that would cut into your ears as a kid.
They
Here's
always,
a
the night was over anyway, always stapled on and they would pop
Yeah.
it with a break before they got through.
now DS. If this wasn't restored, would this be $1,000 book easily? Correct.
A 4.0 blue. I mean, I think it used to be. I don't know that it would be today. It probably would be right around 1,000. Again, it's one of those books that it rides the PCH wave, and it's a pretty good one, but it doesn't go as high as it was maybe years ago. But I would say a 4.0, probably close to $1,000, maybe 1,100, maybe.
Okay. Journey into Mystery number 8, Russ Heath cover. Again, I've always had a thing about these things on the side where we really probably could have gotten a lot better look at the art, but it is a great cover, Russ Heath. And Journey into Mysteries, I think, are one of those early titles of the horror stuff that Atlas did that doesn't get enough love, but I do like it.
The early issues are tough to find too. The early journeys, like below 10, they're tough. Ones were
You
fun.
got to get the ones with the monsters on them because you get the ones that don't really have that, and they don't nearly sell anywhere close to what the other ones do. And it's kind of hit or miss on in between. But like this sounds like a great value right now. You know, I don't
This
know where
one.
it's gonna go, but you know, I know it's PGX,
I
whatever.
was just gonna say PGX Kiss of Death.
Yeah, but I mean, looking at it, it's a nice looking copy, and it's
Yeah, it looks the colors look real. I mean, the contrast between the green and the red is one of those things they always check colors on, and you even have that on the side panel. So it's pretty thorough, good book. Not like one side is better than the other. I think it's a good shape book. Marvel Mystery 87, first Cap Golden Girl team. We have to do that because they mentioned the Golden Girls right there. What do we think of this one? Knights? Any love for this?
I like the earlier side of
Yeah.
Timely, but
Spook 24. This is the Sodi book, the Mummy cover for Paul. Paul, don't you love this?
It's on my list.
There you go. This comes with two of us because you got an LB Cole for DS and the Pre-Code Horror, and you have the Mummy Boy in there. So, this is a 9/4 Superman 43. I mean, come on, dude. Let her freaking blow out her own candles. I had enough of him. You know? It's just a dick. Even the cat's like, what a dick. You know, I'm sorry.
I'll tell
Superman.
you, the thing about that cover is the painting on the wall, though. It's like the guy has massive mutton chops, like so.
Admiral Burnside or something, yeah. Hitler, Tojo, Mussolini, World War II cover. This is kind of cool. Of all of the World War II world's finest, if they're not playing baseball or babysitting or arm in arm, here we are walking on top of a battleship. This one, at least they're at a carnival and they're throwing things at Hitler, Mussolini, and Tojo. What's our opinion on this one? 3.5. I mean, it's pretty low grade.
It doesn't get much respect, this book. I mean, seeing it 350, I'm surprised from what I've seen other sales. You know, so far, with still 14 days left on this auction. How many days left?
Correct. 2 weeks.
So I'm surprised to see it at 350 already. You know, but those world finest, that glue did not hold on the spine well. You get a lot of detached covers with that type.
Yeah, aren't they all? They're all like square bound, right?
Yeah, that was the
bigger
last. I think it said that was the last 100-page issue.
Last 100-page issue. Yep. Human Torch 26, 1947. You got the evil woman there. Her Diary of Terror. You know, this is when Timely was kind of figuring something to do after the war. So, Romantic Adventures 49, single highest graded 6.5. Probably because nobody really went after this book.
No, that book is a great book, man. After the next one, 50. 50 is the one that most people want. This is the second, and this one is really under the radar that a lot of a wider base don't quite realize, and a small collector base truly do get. At 6.5, I am like, this is like my favorite book that I've seen so far.
Nice.
Yeah, I showed the number 50 last week on the show, I think. That's definitely the most popular one. Yeah, I think this is cool. I'm not into romance books. This one's cool. I like it. I
like the prison, the bad girls. This was kind of going on.
I've been an ACG fan for years, and it seems like people are finally.
You like Ken Baldwin books, yeah.
How much
is that now?
They're starting to realize how good a lot of those books were.
Yeah, that's an Ogden Whitney cover.
Yeah, we talked about Ogden when he transforms it all.
It's a group of collectors.
Schoenberg airbrush cover with these aliens.
How much was that Jailbird cover?
337 right now.
Yeah, it's going to go for a lot more than that. A lot of people there's a group of collectors who like the girls behind jail, bad girls, prison.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a bit.
Those are some of the best books, yeah. There's a bunch of those guys. Here's a Schoenberg airbrush cover, classic, startling. Pretty much.
Yeah, these sci-fi airbrushed covers outside of Startling 49 are really starting to pick up. This is one of the top ones, and they're really starting to pick up in price. I've been watching them for a couple of years, and they're really becoming very coveted, I think.
And that's one of my favorite Ray Boy covers.
Yeah, this is a Ray Boy that stands out. I understand it's a rah-rah, but he's actually got the troops behind him. I do like 1942, early Ray Boy, and really good book.
You know why he quit comics?
No.
Because Alex Raymond went to World War II, and they wanted someone to take over Flash Gordon, and he was like, "Yep," and that was it.
Nice.
Took over the Flash Gordon.
Batman 5.
Woman had no job when he came back from the war. Thank you very much.
Big question on this one. Why is it qualified? I can't see.
Centerfold.
Married centerfold.
All right.
The one where he's missing the emblem.
Early
on the chest.
Batman. I'm not going to knock it. It's a single digit Batman. I don't see a logo on his chest either, by the way.
Right.
So throw that out there. Tech 76. This is the one we don't know. He shrunk them. We talked about this last week. Jack Kirby, Joe Simon, Cherry Robinson in the interior. I don't get this one. I don't get the scissors. I don't know.
Well, I like this one.
Yeah, it's popular. Submariner number 5, another qualified, but this is a pretty cool one. Using a gun to take down a plane.
What's
And
the
centerfold on that one too.
And this one is first Japanese World War II cover in Submariner comics. And he's got his foot on someone's neck over there. And his other foot's on the flag. It's pretty Gatling gunnish. Good stuff. And
Flying cover. See too many
What
of
was the problem with it?
those. Married.
Married centerfold.
married centerfold.
Ooh.
It's desirable there, huh? Meador, Alex Schoenberg, World War II cover. We had this on. Did somebody get one of these? Or well, I think we talked about this. It might have been on Spinner Rack. Good book. I'm not. I think the Meadors are a little bit undervalued if you're a Schoenberg guy, but then you've got a lot of covers that sometimes they just don't make sense. So, Journey into Fear. We talked about this. One of
Do
the
you think
top.
they're undervalued, or the other stuff is slightly overvalued right now?
I don't think Schoenbergs are overvalued. I think the Meador gets a little bit. They're discounted. Schoenbergs. How about that?
Would you
They-
say there's any overvaluing going on right now?
In the market, hell yeah. Every pre-code
Okay.
horror book is way overpriced. Here's Journey into Fear. I talked about this title before. The funny thing about this title is you don't know. There's a lot of times CGC doesn't put the names of people on there. When they do get it, a lot of research on Avon is pretty hard. But this is a pretty cool vampire collecting book because her hair goes from one eye to the other as like bat wings. I always thought it was kind of cool.
I'll be honest though, the current bid on that is $350, and in my opinion, that's getting pretty close to topped out. Honestly,
That's
On
a,
an 8.0.
that's
yeah.
a Canadian version too.
Oh,
So-
that's true. It's got the. I was just gonna say. I looked right here.
And it's not on the label either. They don't put it on the label, which is interesting to me. Seen that a lot.
oh yeah,
We got a Shield cover here. A Pep. Okay. Good MLJ, but
I mean, there's no Nazi monsters on it, and it's got a
Yeah.
massive stain on the
What's the date of that?
40.
1940
What
Shield
date?
versus U-boats war cover.
I love the coloring to it, but the shield himself looks.
I don't understand. He's got like a cod piece going on. It's like
What
one
month does it say?
6
6/4.
June 40. Yeah,
So
it's got
that
a stain, and this is what Herb. It's a
Captain
Herb
America.
Novik too, and that's not a good Herb Novik, I'll tell you.
That's true. I
The
love
next one is a 3.0 Crippen Pedigree LB Cole classic cover. Suspense 9. If it was an 8, but it's a 9.
Yeah, I mean, you know that book, man. The gas has evaporated off of this book. It's just gone. Nobody wants it anymore. I sold mine. I got it all right price, but I mean, it's not. Nobody wants that book anymore. I feel like.
This is the Temple of Doom scene. Onam Shabai, right here. We got the weird classic heart turn up by Bernard Bailey. Again, Bernard Bailey covers kind of come with a premium. I think this is $325 for a 2.5 is a bit much. Am I wrong on this one?
It's a tough title, and it's a popular title. It's a niche PCH title. This is not one of the better covers in it, but it's a cool concept, and it's Bernard.
Kind
Bailey.
of got a Rambo look to him, no?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, this whole title's cool. I mean, the zombie busting out of the earth is the best one. I think that's number 3.
So, Jeff, I got a question for you. I feel like there's certain books like that one with a heart, like there's a certain coolness factor. And I feel like to get, there's like tiers of price for coolness factor. And I would expect for $100 or maybe even $200, you probably wouldn't get a Golden Age book as cool as that. Like, what if someone went to your booth, if you had a booth at a con, and they were like, I got 150. What's the coolest? Like, what price would you say? What's the lowest price people would have to offer up to get something really cool?
Like
You
if
know.
somebody comes to me and says, I want to buy a Golden Age book, I want something cool, like you're saying, for like $150, you know, it's gonna have to be, it's not gonna be a superhero Golden Age book for the most part.
Right.
The book is like a rag, but even then, like I'm still looking for cool. So I'd have to steer them towards another genre. It would have to be towards crime.
What about
science
ACG?
fiction, horror?
What's the price they have to hit before they can, like, $500?
No, you could still do it for $250. You can get a cool horror book, low grade, for $250.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you're talking like superhero gold, you know, you can get, you know, probably like $250. Like I have a low grade Cap. If you want a Cap comics, you know, you're like, hey, this is cool. I get my first Captain America book. Okay, but it's not a war Cap. It's a Captain America comic, but it's not a war cover. So you can lead them to that and try to say that's cool. But if you want something truly classic cool, you know,
Classic cover-ish cool.
and it's superhero, you know,
Or crime, or
yeah, you can probably get them into a Joker cover, you know, that's cool, for $200-$400, low grade.
but
I'm
$500, they
$500,
will.
you should have no problem finding something cool. If you
Yeah.
know the Golden Age enough, you can find something cool. You know,
It's
there's a
kind of
lot.
like, you know, if you go shopping for a house and you give them the price, they're like, okay, yeah, we can look at those houses and blah, blah, blah. And then they always mention, like, but if your budget were to allow this,
You might get indoor plumbing.
all the, you know, like, I
Right.
feel like $500 or
Yeah.
400 maybe.
You can get that master bath, the his and her sink, the 3-car garage.
You don't have to go in the back.
Neighborhood with the good school.
You know, right? You get the good school. So I mean, for me, like I said, you should be able to find something. Is it going to be key? No, but is it going to be cool? Like a cool cover, something to look at, like the weird tales. You know, weird tales with the heart out of the chest, right? I mean, like the weird tales of the future. Like, I mean, that book wasn't. I remember having that book a few times, thinking it was so cool. Nobody else thought it was cool. I could not get it. I couldn't sell the freaking book like 4 or 5 years ago. All right, I was like, okay, maybe it's just me. You know, I was like, all right, whatever, I'll move. And I couldn't, you know, I could find them for cheap, but it was a cool book, and I could direct somebody to that and be like, that's cool. And but you know, you'll find stuff, but now it's getting really expensive. Apparently, $385 for.
Yeah, I'm going to point out a few other books here. The big one here, I first Marvel superhero team featuring Captain America, Human Torch, and others. I did not know this. This is
Hard to find that book.
yeah. I've heard people say it's pretty rare and scarce, I should say. The Wizard kind of is right there as well. What's everybody's opinion on this one from the Timely side?
I mean, it looks like a Bronze Age book.
I
Yeah.
don't see it very often. And it's
Yeah.
nice to, usually it seems like when I see it, it's a higher grade than this for sure. So it might be a good opportunity for someone to
Yeah.
jump on this. What do you think, Jeff?
I think it's first appearance of Storm Shadow from G.I. Joe, right? It's like, no, man, I see that book sell pretty strong. Someone's going to be excited. A few people are going to bid strong on that at a 1.8 because, yeah, like I said, I don't really see it. It appears nice. I mean, it's got color fading to it, but
Yeah, color fade.
see pieces of it,
And the staple looks a little funky, maybe.
Well, it's a little rolled
In the middle.
Rolled.
yeah.
This one here is a Carl Barks Mickey Mouse, and I know this is the only. Well, there it is. Did I just say it? Yeah. This is the only Mickey Mouse story created by Carl Barks. This is for the Carl Barks fans. They do love this book, and I have seen a few higher grade than this at actually at Baltimore. I looked at one of these for a Carl Barks. There was some
Colors on that are blindingly vibrant. I'll tell you.
This is such a and you know, some people don't like the four colors. The four colors, they have a history to them. I mean, Carl Barks is one of the best right there. The Dumbo is very, very hard to find. The first Dumbo.
Age for Carl Barks collectors, Jeff?
What's that?
what's the average age, would you say, for people looking for
That's
spells?
not fair. That's not nice.
Hey, I'm old.
I think people are trying to find right now any way they can get into Golden Age, and they're hoping to find some way to do that. And I'm seeing people try to get into funny books any way they can. They hear Barks, so anytime they hear Barks tied to a book, it somewhat piques their ears. So I think a lot of collectors getting into Golden Age at all, it's an avenue to travel down. Am I seeing strong numbers in sales and high demand? No, but I don't see. A lot of the older collectors aren't even coming to these big conventions. I do a lot of sales in conventions, so you're not even seeing them there because it's just so much effort to even go.
I see them at Paul and I see him at hotel cons we go to.
Yes.
There's a lot of Carl Barks friends at hotel. I mean, there's one guy I know who particularly sells a lot of Carl Barks stuff, and it's not Don Rosa. He sells a ton of Carl Barks stuff that he collects, and he's one of those who doesn't do any slab books ever. So he looks at condition and says, "Oh, he doesn't give numbers. He's like, it's fine, plus or whatever." He just looks at it, and if he thinks you have a better copy, he will go out and try to pay for that better copy, and he makes good deals. But the Carl Barks, the one thing you got to say is, if you original art collectors, there's always someone that everybody says, "Well, I don't really collect those kind of funny books, but I really want a Carl Barks." It's one of those things. Jeff's right. The name Carl Barks and the quality of his work.
There's also a lot of people who, like I think Jeff was saying, want to get into Golden Age. I'm more partial to the Frisky Fables and the Funny Animals. I've had a few of those. Whenever I get those and clean them up and they're nice, they sell easy, man. There's people that like those. They're nice pieces of Americana. They're light, fun art. They're colorful. They're Golden Age. They're not super pricey. They move pretty good, man. Those always move pretty good. And Mickey Mouse on a cover with bright colors on the 40s. Yeah, man, that's a killer, nice, affordable pickup for an old piece of Americana art. I like it.
Yep, nice.
Do you think a lot of collectors will come? Do you think a lot of like funny Carl Barks-ish stuff will just surface in the next 10, 20 years?
Yeah, last on Heritage, there was like a whole slew of Walt Disney comics. I don't know if they were Carl Barks or not, but it was a whole slew of Walt Disney comics and stories. And they all sold really strong in that Heritage auction I watched.
Because the old Overstreets I have, like early 80s and 70s, late 70s, those Carl Barks, the Disney's, I mean, the top 100 most valuable books are filled with those. And, that kind of faded away, but they might be out there somewhere.
There's been a push at Baltimore. I talked to one of the older dealers in the Carl Barks world. He was by the people who did Stabbity Bunny. And I said, it's kind of ironic. You got Stabbity Bunny over here with the Carl Barks guy. And he had a lot of Carl Barks pages. And he was asking pretty reasonable. I actually debated walking away with one. I just didn't want to fly home with it. I was going to ask him to keep up with it, but he sold the piece I wanted that day. It's funny because I haven't seen too many people offer Carl Barks stuff for sale. People keep that stuff. I mean, that's a piece of Americana, like DS says. And Carl Barks, for someone who you think did a ton, didn't really do as much as you think. There's a couple of hard covers you can get all the Carl Barks in there, but he didn't do every Donald Duck, every Scrooge McDuck, or any of those, every Huey Dewey. He didn't do every one. I mean, there are portions of stories he did. There are some covers he did. There are a lot, but he's the premium of the Disney duck collectors, I guess you could say. Dagger is popular again. I see it on, I think, kind of some guys on the CGC boards have overpriced their books recently, and this is an example of a pedigree book that is probably priced at the peak where I'm not a big fan of the title, even though it's Jack Kamen, not a big title. I was going to ask about this one here, this Schoenberg. Entry-level Schoenberg, fighting, I mean, Wonder Man. I don't know.
I mean, it's neat, but I wouldn't say it's a bargain.
Right. This is
That's a good one.
This is the one. This is logo. Yeah, this book here, Uncle Scrooge, Only a Poor Old Man, by Carl Barks' first Uncle Scrooge solo story and first cover appearance. I talked to the great legend about this book.
I like that book.
Here. This is a very, very good one to get. The other one is when he's actually laundering money. It's kind of funny. He's got him on a washboard. I think that's the second or third one. And for some reason,
it's a good looking 5.5, and it's only 316 is the bid. It didn't see much interest.
No,
Yeah.
that book has been really, really, really soft, and I don't think it's his first
it's not.
appearance. And I think a lot of people were confused. People were confused for a while and assumed this was his first appearance because it used to sell for much stronger, but it's been
The
really
note here was his first solo story.
All right. Mark Roboy here, World War II cover. It's okay. There was one. This was the one here. Okay. This is a title that's not real popular, but we've seen this book before on our own when we did Spinner Rack on it, and we talked about all the heads in the background and everything else. It's a Western story. It's a Western into a horror style book. I mean, Barbie.
actually Tim Holtz has a very similar type of one as well. You know, it's a Western with skeletons, and it's
it's sort of it's like this book doesn't know what it wants to be. Is it a horror book? Is it a kid's book? Is it a Western book? Like, what the hell is it? It doesn't have a strong identity in any particular genre, but it is kind of cool.
I mean, it is a 7.0. I was going to say it's a pretty good grade.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a little. If there was somebody else there instead of that little kid swinging it on a rope with a holster, it wouldn't seem so juvenile. But it's just Plastic Man cover. How horrific can it be when it's Plastic Man? Because there's a lightheartedness to it that you can never be truly scary on a Plastic Man cover or a BBRB ride.
Yeah. Action Comics 82, the Griffin cover.
Just got the Tim Holt that he was talking about. Yeah, I like Tim Holt's got a dark side to it. I like the Tim Holt's.
Yeah,
that's cool. I like that. What great! I'd like to talk to you about that one if it's nice.
It's not nice, man. I probably would have brought it up to you if it was.
Yeah, it's a cool book though. I like it.
Yeah.
There was one more here. Oh, this is the Bullet Man. Is this straight up copying the other guys? Is Fawcett so going after DC that they actually have this? They cover swipe it, rolling up the sleeves, so to speak.
Yeah, this is where you see Tokyo with an IO, which you always see that often.
This is the Japanese bumper over on December 7, 1994. It didn't take Fawcett long to respond with this great cover, published a few months later. Doolittle's raid.
They probably drew it right after the bombing.
Right, just before Doolittle's raid.
You got Spy Smasher and Bullet Head.
Spy Smasher's kind of cool with Bullet Man. First Catwoman cover in the Batman title. This one, I gotta just pulling up the cover. We've seen this gimmick done on a few.
This book is on the rise. I know a lot of people have this.
A lot of people like this book.
A lot of people are looking for copies of this. This book is on the rise. There's a lot of Batman collectors, a lot of Catwoman collectors, a lot of DC female character collectors. This book is on their list.
I know a lot of people feel they're priced out of the first appearance of Catwoman. This is their second choice.
Nice. Shield and Wizard. MLJ Origin of the Shield retold. Scarce.
It's got a lot of resto going on.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking. Yeah, a lot of resto.
Yeah, trim too, so it's got everything plus that.
First bald Lex Luthor. I saw the story how Lex Luthor lost his hair in the old serials from around this time when they were the cartoons. It's pretty bizarre. It's almost like a Batman Joker story from the Tim Burton run.
Didn't he have hair in the last movie?
Well, that was just. We're not going to talk about that.
I heard why Lex Luthor was bald is because the guy who took over didn't know the history of the prior books, and he mistook a guy in the previous issue who was bald as Lex Luthor. So he thought Lex Luthor was bald, so he drew him bald. And he, looking closely enough at the last issue, he just saw the guy and assumed that that was Luthor in the last issue, and so he drew him bald. That's how Luthor became bald.
Who's your favorite Lex Luthor portrayed in TV or film?
Gene Hackman.
Smallville.
Smallville. Yeah, I like the Smallville.
I like Gene Hackman because of Ned Beatty makes it so much better. Mr. Luthor. Justice Society. Yeah. Okay. Strange Mysteries. There's a few in this title that are pretty popular. DS. Is this? I don't know. Something about this book. I think it should be better than a little more credit than it deserves.
The thing about it is the art on some of these superior titles is it's flat. You know what I mean? It's
one dimensional.
Background is just flat.
It's like a Whitman.
They reuse a lot of the images. It's just not. It's not fleshed out.
Oh, there's a shark cover for you.
I was gonna say here's the Blue Beetle, but not the original costume Blue Beetle. Remember?
Does that count as a shark cover, DS?
No.
Tiger Squadron Airplane.
But I think this cover is super cool. I love this cover.
Yeah.
The colors and the action. This is a really cool book, man.
I think this is when the Blue Beetle changes costume.
I like that.
It reminds me of like an early Classics Illustrated cover.
Yeah, right?
That's a good call. Very good call. Classics Illustrated, right. Yeah, nice. Superman 13, not Action 13 like I like. Classic World War II, like Luthor appearance. I don't know why it's so classic. He's punching a boat. Didn't hit the guy.
One of the early ones with the actual markings of the Nazis on there.
Okay. We're questioning what's going on here. Liberty Lads and
Harvey's, right? It's a Harvey, right? Champ Comics.
Yep.
It's early Harvey.
Yeah, very early Harvey.
Who's the artist on that?
Ray Isip.
Hmm.
I don't know who it is.
Like he's trying to be Lou Fine.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The same thing. It's like
especially the guy with the saber. That's a classic Fine character. You know what I mean? That looks. Yeah.
All-Star 29. Again, Justice Society books. Millie the Model. I wanted to bring up Millie the Model because the one guy we didn't mention, the passing of Denny O'Neil. Actually, he's got his first start in comics on a Millie the Model and modeling for Millie. The two titles, but he was in 1961-62 time. But
has anyone submitted any books to Comic Link recently?
No, I haven't this year. Last time I did it was
like what the backlog is because there's so many books in this auction.
There's a lot in this one. Yeah, this book I love a lot.
Are they going to tell you like, yeah, all right, 6 months from now we'll put it in our auction because we got a warehouse full?
Now I have a thing about Frankenstein because I like the Bernie Wrights and Frankenstein. I like a bunch of the classic illustrated Frankenstein. I like a lot of the Frankenstein covers. I love the book, and I don't see it come up that often. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, I love this book. This is an epic LB Cole cover, in my opinion. It's a Frankenstein cover story. It's LB Cole drawing Frankenstein, essentially. And it's just so badass. I love the colors and the electricity buzzing around the Frankenstein and the lever in the background, the black cover. This is I love this book. I really want to get like a 7.0 or a 7.5 of this. Really nice.
How much will this go, DS?
The 3.0 probably would go for it's probably going to go for like 400.
I was thinking 450. America's
How
Best.
do you do all that text on there, though? Jesus.
I mean, I put that on all of them. The text is cool, though. It's fun to read those little things. But
a lot of text.
Yeah, I mean, his covers are all cluttered with stuff anyway.
We got the Schoenberg here. Good Girl. High Thigh. Looking at Crystal Ball. Which one is she interested in? Is the Fighting Yank? I don't know. Captain Marvel. This is the Monster Society of Evil Chapter 5. Kind of a big patriotic cover. This was being done at the time, pretty common.
It's a key too because it's first appearance of Mr. Mind. I think.
Ooh,
this is the one, right?
Mine revealed as Tiny Worm. Yeah,
it's like I mean, it's got room to grow a lot too. This book, considering that
I'm actually interested. I think was this one of the ones that was redone in '73? by Denny O'Neil. We were just talking about him. God, R.I.P. Gone too soon. 1941 Jackpot Comics #1. Interior ad for Jackpot 1. The Shield. Bondage.
This is
Alien.
like a snapshot of all the books you have to get rid of so that you don't have to get rid of all your good books.
Yeah. More Fawcett. I'm a big fan of the
Cool book.
Fawcett.
I like that book.
Yeah, I love that
Comic book.
cover.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I own this.
We should do an Atomic War like cover discussion show. That would be cool.
I've got this book. I got it from Gene. Good book. Interiors are pretty cool. I'm not grading mine. I kind of like the interior in there. This is a pretty cool Sandman cover, I guess.
No,
Simon and Kirby.
I
think this is way underpriced. I mean, it's an adventure. It's a Simon Kirby.
What are they on, a dinosaur or something?
That's a Fing Fang Foom as a child. So
we're not going to win over the 20-year-olds with stuff like that,
it's
folks.
just Fing at that point.
Here's a Bethlehem pedigree. Words. This is cool because it's a Bethlehem pedigree, and I don't see that many horrors in the Bethlehem. These were sold at a pharmacy. That's where the whole collection. I believe it's a pharmacy. So there might be the stamp on the other side, but we can't see the back of the book.
It's not even high enough on the census for them to say what number highest graded rank it is. But yeah, I had a 5.0 of this, and I ended up having to sell it for like $275 or something. It just didn't sell. So I don't know. Maybe a Bethlehem higher grade would sell better.
Who's the so of EC books? Who are the 2 top 3 cover artists where those artists' covers will make that book go way
Fred
faster?
Engels, Jack Davis, probably.
Davis.
I mean, I don't think the books sell based on who the artist is, because they're all top notch. Everybody has their favorite, but they're all equally
So
respected.
many.
I think it just depends on what book it is and what's the cover art and what's the grade.
What do you say, Jeff? Is there a stock that goes out usually faster than the others?
I mean, people always love Frazetta. He did a few pieces, so you'll have Frazetta. But outside of that, man, just like DS says, the cover, man, it's what it is for EC.
Not Wood? Wally Woods?
It's all about the cover.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there's one category that stands out when we're talking about this right now. Jack Davis werewolf covers. That's like pretty popular among EC, but otherwise it's just whatever's the cover art. If it's a good cover, it'll sell. And whoever did it, it's one of their talented core of artists. They're all top notch. So
What are the top 5 EC books?
Tales of Terror Annual 1, if you're talking about value.
oh yeah, Shock 6, Crime Suspense 22,
Crime
What's
Suspense
that?
for sure.
I like Tales from the Crypt 32, but that's just my opinion.
Crime Patrol 15 is probably up there.
Crime Patrol 15.
Crypt Keeper?
What's the one with the first horror cover in the EC did with the mummy scene, or the sarcophagus mummy and the two?
Oh, War Against Crime or something? No, War. Wait, what's it?
Yeah, War Against Crime 11.
Yeah, something like 10. 10 and 11 were like the first, I think.
Yeah. Those are good. And then, you got like the first Crypt Keeper, the first Old Witch.
Multiple 15, I think.
A lot of the old witch books tend to be popular, I noticed.
It's good EC.
Almost like, because Crypt Keeper, Old Witch, those are cool.
The Tales of Terror Annual 1 is probably the highest value, like for in grade. That's the most valuable. After that, probably CSS 22 and then Shock 6. And then it moves down into like the Crime Patrol and the other stuff.
I've always liked the EC correlation to the DC Bronze Age horror books, the House of Mysteries and stuff. There's you have the person who watches both sides. It goes into the Jim Warren. So I kind of like the EC horror, even though there's a lot of them. Like we keep saying, there's a lot of them. I do like the EC horror as my favorite publisher of horror books. Would be EC because they did a lot of them, and it almost goes right into the same. I think that's like the grandfather to the father of the Bronze Age and late Silver Bronze Age. House of Mystery, House of Secrets, Jim Warren Publishing's Creepy and Eerie's.
Yeah,
What
there's
was the highest priced one you said, Joe?
Tales of Terror Annual 1.
Oh, okay.
There's a 3D one too that's impossible to find in a nice condition with the glasses. So if one of those came up like a 7.5 intact with the glasses, that would sell for a lot. I think that's pretty tough. And then there's also it's climbing. It's pretty sought after. Is the International Crime? You know what I'm talking about? There's the one with the guy and it's got like the flashlight coming out with all the little things in it. There's
Is it this?
or something.
Yeah, you're talking about Crime Incorporated now. Crime.
International Crime or Crime,
That's right.
something like
Yeah,
that.
what you're talking about. It's like a guy with a big flashlight pointing down, and it's blue on the edges. And
Yeah.
Are you
That's the
saying
one.
this one?
No, not that one. That's
It's the other thing. JD, like what you were saying with the DC horror, I was just gonna say it's like, yeah, they kind of went along the same lines because they also had the Cain and Abel telling the stories, like ECs,
Yep.
you see with the Crypt Keeper and
Yeah, and Warren Publishing, they had him as well. Yeah, I kind of like those narrators or the Vault Keeper. You know, House
yeah,
of
they
Mystery.
kept the story going and
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this
the reason is a lot of the time is that there were no Gaines file copies. Okay, that's the reason that I mean, there's not that many in the marketplace. It's a square bound.
Right.
It's early, but there were no Gaines file copies to destroy the market. So it kind of gives you an idea of what it really could have been, the EC market. No Gaines file copies.
I always say the one thing that hurts the value of ECs, the only thing, the sole thing is there's too common. That's it.
That's the same thing with Harvey. The file copies from Harvey, found in Arizona in the mid to late 90s, changed everything for them. I mean, you wouldn't see 80% of the Harvey books in high grades over 9 if it wasn't for that find. And that find just happened to be every single file copy was found at the same time.
The only difference between Harvey and EC, well, one of the big differences is the Harvey publishers and editors just gave the artist carte blanche. Do the most obscene, outlandish thing you want, we'll publish it. EC, they held standards and they're like, don't go too far, keep this joint classy. So they would never go too far. But Harvey, they tell Lee Elias, you want to draw a melting face from radioactivity? Go for it. Draw exploding this and a zombie kissing a chick. Just whatever you want, man. EC kind of held them back a little bit.
So is this the most expensive EC right here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that the annual one?
I would never think that.
Nope.
Yeah, there's no file copies and it's square bound, like Jeff said. So even when you do see one, it's a beat up like 1.5.
What about low grade?
I'll give you a number for it, which I think the highest graded, I don't know how the highest grade, but 6.5 would be extremely high grade, if not highest grade. But I think a 6.065 just sold at a convention that I was at last year, and he paid $20,000 for it.
No kidding.
Now, what about low grade? Because, you know, is it had the Hulk 1 syndrome where it's like at low grade, the Hulk is more comparable to other books, but at super high grade, it jumps because there's just not many.
Anything over a 5 in a Hulk 1 is ridiculous right now.
I sold at my 2, I think it was a 2 or 2.5 of that book this last January at Cal Comic Con, and the guy was happy to pay me $9,000, and I thought I was selling myself short, but the guy really wanted it.
Wow.
Really bad. And so, you know, just to give you an idea.
Yeah, I'll tell you another one that's sort of in the same category. I don't think it sells for as much. Is Voodoo Annual #1. There's an Ajax Farrell. That's even lower. There are no file copies of that, obviously.
Yeah.
It's also square bound, and I think that is a similar, like for horror annuals. Not a lot of them had annuals, but Voodoo Annual 1 is super scarce and expensive too. To find them.
Voodoo didn't have that many regular copies. There aren't that many Voodoo.
No, most of these PCH runs, other than EC, are pretty short. I mean,
Oh.
Harvey had a couple in the 20s.
Yeah. That one's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Anybody have anything coming up on their channels they want to discuss before I wish everybody the best? No.
I just fully edited my first full video on my channel, Golden Age Guru.
Check it
YouTube. Did it myself, filmed it myself. put it up there just yesterday, I think. I did a breakdown on a What If comic. It was a really fun read. Guys, check it out if you want. Decided that going to do a sale during this AtCon thing. Another claim sale on the 25th.
When is that? 25th.
Thursday
Okay.
the 25th.
Oh, I'll have to watch that one.
Oh yeah, you got your own channel now.
Yeah, I just did a vid, and hopefully it motivates me to do more. And but yeah, man.
A lot of work.
I want to thank everybody for joining us right now. I'm going to close it out. Check out Guru's channel right there, and glad everybody could join us. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
And come on in.
I hope you get your hot water here, Fred.
I'm trying to
some
get
water
it
right
still
now, man.
going.
I changed out a lot of water heaters, man. But this is a tankless water heater, and it's my attic. In my attic, the dumbass put it in the attic for